Hello, my name is Craig Tomlinson. I'm the program manager at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. I'm the program manager of our long-term program. Today the training is going to be on life during Teen Challenge. What it's like for the student here at Teen Challenge on a daily basis, what is their schedules like, what do we expect of them, and then also how to help the family while the student is here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. In the field of addiction, when somebody is in treatment, a lot of the times we concentrate solely on the individualistic approach to the addiction, but we all know that it is a family issue, it is a family matter, and it is a family system problem, and it affects the whole family system, not just the individual. So we're going to be talking about what it's like for the individual here, what it's like for the family, how the family can encourage, how the family can support the individual while they're here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, and what happens before, during, and after Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. So we're here to talk about that a little bit. So we have a detox short-term and a long-term program. So our detox short-term and long-term program is all structured throughout the day. They might be different times, might be have one will have classes, one will have groups, one will have work therapy, but they're all the same with the structure and the discipline that comes along with it, the consistency of developing a habit. And that's what we try to do here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. So in the detox short-term program, they get up in the morning, they're expected to make their beds, they're expected to have their rooms clean, and then they go to breakfast. After breakfast, when they return back to their group settings, they have process groups. They have process groups with their individual counselors, and then after the process groups, there's a little bit of free time, and then they have lunch. After lunch, they go back into groups. They have a little bit of free time where they might be able to go to the gym for a while. They might have to go to relapse prevention groups, dialectical behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapies, motivational interviewing. They're the kind of groups that we do during the detox short-term program. And then our long-term program is very similar, very structured the same, is that they get up in the morning, they're expected to make their beds, clean their rooms, go to breakfast, and when they come back from breakfast, there's a little bit of free time, and that's when their classes start. So the classes in the early stages of them being at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge is just a foundation for a Christ faith-based facility like Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. We try to create an environment that is Christ-like. So we try to create classes that are based on scripture readings, how to read the Bible, what's it mean, how do you apply it to your everyday life. At Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, our long-term program is a faith-based program, and we believe that Jesus Christ is the ultimate change into becoming a new creation. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what is it like here at Teen Challenge, what it's like for the student here at Teen Challenge. So every day is very structured. There's discipline and consistency that is developed, that we're trying to help the student develop while they're here, and they can take that with them when they leave and graduate the program. So how to work together with Teen Challenge is love one. One of the things you have to do is speak the truth in love. We have to be honest. Explore honest emotions. We have to be honest about our emotions, because a student is going to try to manipulate and try to get his way through things. But when we become honest with our emotions, son, daughter, you're hurting me because of this happening. You're putting too much of a burden on because of this happening. I feel sad, I feel happy, I feel whatever. The honest emotions is going to get the person to start thinking about their emotions as well. Maintaining boundaries. Maintaining boundaries is really, really critical, because as an addict myself, who was in recovery for 12 years, one of the things that I've always tried to do when I was in my mess is try to manipulate, develop this attitude, set demands. I would start things because it was benefiting me. So I was using them alternative motives to benefit what I wanted. Discuss expectations. Expectations have to be set. Assist but do not enable. A fine example of assisting but do not enable, I consider another terminology called supporting a student or hurdle help, where, for example, my daughter, I'm trying to get my daughter to make her bed. I have a teenage daughter, and I'm trying to make her bed, trying to get her to make her bed in the morning. She doesn't do it very well, but when I go into her room and I'll say, you need to make your bed this morning, and she'll fuss a little bit, and I'll grab a pillow and I'll put a pillow in place and I'll pull up the sheet a little bit, and she'll start. I say, come on, let's go, let's get this bed made. I'm not making the bed for her, but I'm giving her some help to get her to get motivated to make the bed. And eventually it's come to the point where now she makes her own bed. But in the beginning I was assisting her, and I was using some hurdle help in order for her to make her bed. Don't make premature or unreasonable promises. So often I hear our students say, well, my mom and dad told me that when I graduate the program, I'm going to get a new car. Premature, unreasonable promises. 12 months from now, is that going to happen? It could, but I wouldn't set them premature or unreasonable promises. Communicate your aftercare support for your teen challenged loved one. So the last couple months coming into being into the program, they're ready to graduate. A 12-month program. So your student, your loved one's here, or the student is here for 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, and they're starting their aftercare program. It's really critical to support their aftercare program. What are they doing once they graduate Teen Challenge? Are they going into an ITP program? Are they going into another aftercare program? Are they going into another program to help? Are they going to go to church? Whatever they're going to do with their aftercare program, it's really critical that you support them. Stick to your promises and your consequences and boundaries. Once you set them expectations and them boundaries, we can't take them away, because as an addict who's in recovery, you don't give us an inch and we take a foot. You give us an inch and I'm going to take a yard. So make sure that them promises, consequences, and boundaries are stuck to. Always affirm and direct as needed. Their decision to stay in the program as coming home early is not an option. I wanted to elaborate on this a little bit because a lot of students I see leave the program, they manipulate themselves through with their loved ones, their mother, their father, their grandmother, their brother, their sister, their aunt, their uncle, their children. Oh, this place is the mattress is too hard for my back. I can't eat the food here. I'm not eating. They treat me badly. It's just not what I expected, and they want to leave the program. So in the field of addiction, so to speak, leaving a short-term program, a detox program, early or shortly after completion of that, really, in the field of addiction, they say that 12 months is the best opportunity for somebody to get into recovery and remain in recovery for a long period of time, or hopefully for the rest of their lives. So we want to try to keep somebody in recovery for the healing of the brain, to establish, to develop certain patterns of their life, to change behaviors, to become that new creation. Always communicate the ways in which you are becoming more healthy. Man, I'm really starting to sleep better at night knowing that you're okay. I love you, and when I feel as if you're in danger, it's hard for me to sleep. I have a difficult time eating. It's really good to see that you're doing well, because now I'm doing well. How to work together as a family. Attend family days and encourage other family members to attend. If you come to a family day and you see the student and you see this change in the student, he looks different, he's walking different, he's speaking differently, and you're like, wow, man, I really see a big change in you. So there's some damage to other family members who don't want nothing to do with the student or don't want to come to family day because of something that they might still hold as a grudge towards the student. Talk to a family member and say, you should really see the change in him or her. Man, I couldn't believe it when I went to family day, the change that I seen in him or her. Maybe you should experience it yourself. He seems very remorseful for what he did or she did. Familiarize yourself with Teen Challenge's rules and policies. It's a good idea for the loved one to familiarize themselves with the rules and the policies of Teen Challenge so that there is no manipulation from the student when they talk to you, because you know the rule. Get recovery support. Get counseling as needed. Counseling is really critical to help you understand and educate on addiction, recovery, and relapse. So it's really critical to educate yourself on addiction. How does the brain and addiction, how does the addiction affect the brain? And what happens to the brain chemistry during this addiction? Because so often I hear and I see and I heard myself that, why does he do this? This doesn't even make sense. Well, the brain has changed through the addiction. And it might not make sense to us, but it makes sense to them. Because the brain's telling them something. The brain is damaged and it has changed. So in order to really understand that, I would educate myself on addiction, educate myself on recovery. What is recovery? How do I remain in recovery? How do I get into recovery? And how do I prevent relapse? How do I know that somebody's potentially in a relapse mode, or somebody is not doing what they were doing to stay in recovery, and I'm witnessing this and I'm noticing this and I'm afraid that they're going to relapse? And what does that look like? Get on board, create a board of directors, posture, and plan. Creating a plan after the program is done is critical in recovery, and remaining in recovery for as long as you possibly can by creating a plan. I personally call it a safety plan. I'm in recovery for 12 years and I still utilize my safety plan. I have a safety plan that I actually have on the back of my phone. I actually have it memorized that I can instantly use my safety plan in case there is a trigger or craving or something that happens, that I call a sponsor, I call my wife, I go to the gym, I do everything that I can by utilizing my plan to avoid relapse. Another way family members can work together is to encourage and support one another. It's critical that we support and encourage one another. Create agreeable conditions and boundaries. You have to set the conditions and boundaries, and you gotta stick to them. Because when you create the boundaries and you create the conditions, then you're creating an environment that's not only going to help the person who's coming home from completing the program or a person in addiction, but it's also going to help the family system. Establish your aftercare plan for yourself. What is it going to be like for you when the student graduates the program or leaves the program and comes home to you or visits you or is engaged with you again? What does that look like for you? What does the plan look like for you? Start preparing for reintegration. Reintegration is really critical. What does that look like? How do I reintegrate you back into my life? Spend time with fellowship of other TC families and create support groups meetings. Nobody understands more than the people that are involved in the whole process. Nobody understands better than other family members what you're going through. They lost sleep just as you lost sleep. They were worried and sick about the individual just like you were worried and sick about the individual. They have concerns about them coming home. What's going to happen when they come home. So creating kind of a meeting, creating a support group can help you come together and say, okay, I understand this more. I understand that I'm not alone and that other people are doing this as well. Familiarize yourself with TC aftercare options. We have aftercare here that we try to create with counselors and pastoral mentors. Familiarize yourself with them. What are you doing to develop an aftercare, and what does that look like? Attend Family Day programs. It's critical that you come to Family Day programs because not only do you get to see your loved one, you get to see the progress that your loved one made and what's going on here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. Because the restoration of family is gigantic for us here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, and when the family comes together in a program, the restoration is more likely to occur. Never align with negative comments, views, rules of the program, or staff. We talked about this a little bit earlier. There's always going to be manipulation, triangulation, right? Where they're going to try to say, I can't believe this. He's done this and he said this and the rules are bad and I can't take it in the program no more. The staff there don't know what they're doing. The triangulation or manipulation is a way for us to get out of the program and get what we want. Not what's best for me, not what's best for the family system, but really what I want. Seek direction and use discretion when sending money, possessions, and clothing. Be careful. You don't want to send too much money. But right now we have a system where they're not allowed to have cash per se. So their cash goes into our bank and they can take what we call mountain dollars so they can use our vending machines. We don't want our students to have cash on them because cash is kind of a trigger for some of us. So the guys who are in the program longer, in their 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th month, 12th month, that might not be so much of a trigger for them no more. But the guys in the early stages, in the first month, second month, third month, fourth month, that could still be a trigger for them. Following all visitation rules and make the rules mandatory for your loved ones. They're going to try to manipulate and triangulate. We talked about that a little bit earlier, about I need to see you, you need to come here, you need to come at this time. So our times, I've worked for Teen Challenge now going on 3 years, and I love the facility and the rules and the policies about restoration of family and having so many times for the family to be able to come see their loved ones. Chapel services are a great time to come see your loved one. You can see your loved one an hour before, during, and an hour after our chapel services. There's plenty of opportunity for the students here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge to see their loved ones. So, but we have to stick to them rules. How to work together with TC. Continue that. Demand and create high structure. High structured accountability as conditions for visits, curfews, associations, time limits, modes of freedoms, the internet. We have to set standards, we have to set guidelines, we have to set our boundaries that, listen, if you come home for a 4-day pass, if you're coming home for this, there's curfews, there's time limits, there's times where we need to get back to Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. Modes of freedom. How much freedom are you going to give? Oh, you're coming home for a 4-day pass, I'm going to let you do whatever you want for them 3 or 4 day pass. That might not be a good decision. How much internet are you going to let them utilize? How much internet can we let them utilize? Here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, if they're using our learning center and they're using the internet, we monitor the internet. Report all suspicious behaviors, conversations with staff ASAP. Do not provide anything that is outside of Teen Challenge's rules. Phone, food, radios, cash right now, right? When a student comes into Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, we take their cell phones from them. Either it goes back with you, the loved one, or we put it in their personal belongings files. And we give it back to them at the end of their stay here. We don't want to utilize phones or have phones while they're here, certain foods, radios, etc., because it is a faith-based program and we're not trying to get into listening to too much music that's not benefiting them in a Christ-like environment or their recovery. Always get program facts, policies from TC staff. Ask questions, never assume. Anytime you have a question, please feel free to ask. Feel free to call. Feel free to get them questions answered. Don't assume because somebody else said something that's the rule or the policy. It might not be the fact. Support designed specifically for families. I want to talk a little bit about the support that we have here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, specifically for the families. So the family programming department here is not only support and encourage the individual that is here in Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, but the entire family system. So if you have any questions, you have any concerns, feel free to call our family programming department and talk to Carol and talk to Jamie. They're more than willing to spend time trying to help you in any way they can. Pastoral mentors here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge are here to encourage and support and guide the individual in their family and their spiritual walk. That also applies to the Detox short-term program here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. They have counselors. So every individual in our short-term program has a counselor. And I strongly suggest that if you have questions, you have concerns, you have anything that you need to talk about, try to get a hold of that counselor and talk to that counselor. They'll be more than willing to speak to you about what's happening here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, what's happening with your loved one. And we're here to help you help the loved one who is here. Family day trainings are designed to help educate and promote healing within the family so they can support their loved one while they are here and when they leave. It is critical, beyond critical, that our family day trainings, that you come to them, that you get educated not only about Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, but about what's going on out in the world, the changes in the drug scene out in the world, what's happening out there, what's the difference between when they came into Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge and when they're leaving Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, because there's changes that have occurred. There might be different drugs, different systems, different things happening on the streets or happening wherever your loved one is from that is different from when they left. So we're here to support you. We're here to support your loved one while they're here. But not only while they're here, when they leave here. See, Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge, the one thing that I love about us is the family restoration part of Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. Like I said earlier, addiction is not just an individualistic approach or an individualistic problem, but it's a family system problem. And in order to help the individual, we have to help the whole family system. So we do whatever we can in order to help the whole family system and not just the individual. Although our focus is on the individual while they're in treatment, we want to encourage and support the family in any way we can. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, you need to know something or you aren't sure about something, what are the policies, what is going on, feel free to call the family programming department. Feel free to call the pastoral mentors. Feel free to call the counselors. Feel free to call the program manager or the pastor. We will help you in any way we can. I want to thank you for engaging and listening to me try the training of life here at Pennsylvania Adult and Teen Challenge. If you have any questions, feel free to call the family programming department, the pastoral mentors, the counselors, and they're going to help you in any way they can. Because we really, really, truly believe in family restoration, and we believe that the addiction is not just an individualistic approach, but a family system approach. And when the family system is involved, and then we can encourage and support the whole family system, then the individual is more likely to get into recovery and remain in recovery for a long period of time, and we pray for the rest of their life. I wish you a good day. I wish you'd have a wonderful family day training and a really wonderful time with your loved one. I thank you for listening, and I thank you for participating in the training, and God bless.